Hello, welcome. I'm Joe, and today I'm making another fanny pack out of some scrap fabrics of jeans and vinyl. All the cutting instructions and material list will be in the description below. You will need 4 pieces of fabric, 2 for the lining and 2 for the exterior, along with the 7-inch zipper, 2 swivel hooks, and 2 small pieces of fabric for our swivel hook tabs. Now this hip bag will be attached to the loop of your jeans, so you won't be needing a belt. So first I made a patch out of vinyl and some pieces of jeans fabric. Now I'm taking the exterior piece of my jeans fabric and I'm placing the patch in the center, and I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and sew around the 4 corners to secure the patch to the exterior of the hip bag. This will be the front of the hip bag, okay? Let's install the zipper. Now we're going to place the zipper right sides down, or the teeth facing down, on top of the exterior piece of fabric, which is facing up. And then over those two, we're going to place the lining piece right sides down on top of the zipper and the exterior, creating a sandwich which we will take to our sewing machine, and we're going to stitch across the top edge using our zipper foot. After you've completed sewing the zipper in place, you will pull the 2 pieces of fabric away from the zip, that is right sides together, and then you will turn it over to the exterior section, and you will top stitch about 1/4 inch down from the zip. So this is what your exterior front should look like after installing the zip. Now you're going to add the other 2 pieces of fabric, that is the exterior back and the lining back, to the other end of your zipper, following the steps that you just did. Now that you've successfully installed your zipper and top stitch, we're going to continue by making the tabs for the swivel hook. Take the 2 small pieces of fabric and fold in half and make a crease. You can do it by finger pressing or using your iron. Now fold the raw edges in toward that crease, and then you will fold once again. You can either press or clip. Then take this to your sewing machine and sew along the edges, the 2 long edges, or if you wish, just the open edge. Now take your swivel tabs and thread it through your swivel hook, and you will sew close to the edge using about a 1/4 inch or 1/8 seam allowance. After this, you will turn your tabs so that the raw edges are on the inside and not exposed. and this we will take and install on our bag. Let's install our swivel hook tabs. Place your swivel hooks about 3/4 of an inch in from the sides of your back panels, and that is on the back exterior. Now make sure and remove the lining from out of the way because you only want to sew this onto the exterior back. After you've sewn this, we'll continue. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. If you're receiving value from this tutorial so far, please give this video a like. Thanks. At this stage, we're now going to complete the final assembly of the bag. Now place your zipper in the center, that is, and out of the way of the seam allowance. Pull the exterior pieces right sides together and the lining pieces right sides together, and you will pin, making sure that the teeth of the zipper is towards the lining. Pin all around the perimeter of the hip bag and make sure to leave a 4-inch opening on the lining side. This opening will be used for turning your bag right sides out. After completing your pinning, you will take this to your sewing machine and you will sew around the perimeter of the bag using a 1/2-inch seam allowance on the lining section and a 1/4-inch seam allowance on the exterior section. We're increasing the seam allowance on the lining section so that the lining will be a bit smaller than the exterior so that it will fit neatly on the inside of the bag. Pro tip, here I'm using a buffer to balance my sewing machine foot as I attempt to sew over the zipper. I am now trimming my seam allowance down in half, about 1/8, and I'm using a pinking shears to prevent the fabric from fraying, mostly the lining. And after, make sure not to trim at the opening because you will need the material there to sew the opening closed. After you've completed that, you will now put your hand through the opening and pull the exterior section through the lining. And to turn your bag right sides out, make sure to poke out all your corners and roll your seams so that your hip bag can look neat. After that, you will fold the opening inwards to match the rest of the sewing, and you will take it to your sewing machine and sew the opening closed. Make sure to use a 1/8 seam allowance and a matching thread. Your lining is all tucked in. Give your bag a nice press. And as a little decoration, we're going to add a zipper pull. So I cut a seam from my jeans and I pulled it through and give it a tie. And now I have a zipper pull added to my hip bag. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, you can also check out my other tutorials on how to make a fanny pack using a belt.